Hey, yo, before we go, dog, I really I wanna make sure you understand this, dog. I gotta make sure I put this out here. I gotta show big shout outs to my hometown for celebrating Mardi Gras. So for a quick second, I don't care about getting bland. We about to play some motherfucker rebirth. Let's go. All right, y'all ain't gonna hear me. You ain't gonna hear me. You ain't gonna do it with me. You
Look,
gonna just
man,
sit
I'm
there
telling
like
you,
that.
I was in the Big Easy, and there was a bunch of young bucks at 2 in the morning that popped the trunk. And then, when you pop the trunk, I'm first looking for the chopper to come out. No, they pulled out a bunch of grass and they broke it down on that street corner for about a half hour. They passed the
Bruh,
box around. I had to throw some ducats in there.
I
dog.
like it.
It was good. So anytime I hear that Mardi Gras type music, I'm like, oh, take me back to the real city that never sleeps.
Oh my god, man.
Love me some
Yo.
Nolans.
All
Never
right,
been. When I'm
wait,
doing
wait.
that.
Got it.
Before you go on, Jamel, and I know you haven't been. I'm gonna pass this to you real fast. JT, why you say Nolans?
Because that's what the seasoning that I got says, Nolans.
No, bro, no. I'm
What
gonna tell everybody that. Go ahead.
is New Orleans?
Is you say New
New
Orleans
Orleans.
or you say
It's
New
New
Orleans?
Orleans. You gotta
New
pronounce and
Orleans.
enunciate everything.
New Orleans. That is the most common way you hear New Orleans.
Wallens.
For some reason, y'all know this. Y'all think we say Nolans, but y'all not realizing there's a break in between that. But here's my one argument on not saying Nolans. When the last time you heard a person from Chicago say Chicago? Bro, when the next
Well,
time you go to Chicago?
people from Chicago don't say Chi-Town. They call it the Chi.
That they call it the Shy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you don't call it Chicago. We don't call it Dakota. Oh, bro, where you from? North Dakota? We don't call it like that, bro. So why disrespect my hometown?
I'll go
Why
get the
disrespect?
seasoning right now. Do I need to go get this seasoning?
All right, you know what? Get the season and tell me who is it made on the back. But I'm telling you, 9 out of 10, the only reason why that season said Nolans is because of the fact that it's appeasing tourists. That's 100% why it is. One of the funniest things about New Orleans is this: they have people who are from like Indiana that moved to New Orleans and have the audacity. You got to switch it back around so you could go to the actual whatchamacallit, Javel. But they have people who are from Indiana had the audacity to do historical ghost tours or haunted places. And it's so hilarious because if you go on these ghost tours, it's hilarious, dog. They all tell different fucking stories. Oh, Susan B. Anthony died over here. And then come to find out, oh, Rachel Maddow decided to go and hang it up over here. It's like so many different fucking stories. So New Orleans is a great place because you have the gumbo pot is real, but you have so many people who go there and they pretend to be from New Orleans, but they're not really from New Orleans. And my prime example is going to be this. When the last time you came up north and then you realized that there was a southern southern food place? JT? When the last time you did that? How many southern food places up here up north?
I mean, like, are you talking like soul
Not where
food?
we at. Not where we live at. I'm talking about like Grand Rapids to Detroit. How many places are like, oh, this is southern food?
No, you got 40 acres over there, but they don't try to say southern food. They try to be like, it's, classic food with a twist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
I have so many places. When I came up here, bro, like it was so funny because like they had these places that are like, yo, we got this southern food, and is like, how is it southern? Explain it to me. How is it southern? Where you from? South Dakota. How the fuck you know how South
that is the
is?
most north you can get besides North Dakota.
Yes. How is
You
that?
are 1 Dakota away from the border.
How is that? How is that a thing?
But like, the only argument you could make is be like, well, we got some Mexican restaurants around.
yeah.
That's Southern food, if you want to get technical, but it
And
ain't American Southern food.
And then
That has a distinct flavor.
And all your staff is Taiwanese. It's like, what the fuck? How is it not the thing? Stop disrespecting the South. Stop disrespecting the South. All right, man. Let me get back. Happy Mardi Gras to my people. I know that it's Thursday. It's a few days past, but still, big shout outs to New Orleans, man. Shout outs to y'all. Happy Mardi Gras to y'all. And also happy Black History Month. With that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, people of all ages, people who conform to gender norms, and people who say, you know what? Hey, I know what I is. You don't have to watch what's that Maury? You don't have to watch Maury to get a guess on who the fuck I am. We're not trying to see who my birth certificate be. So my name is History Williams, and this is the Historical Voices from the East Side. I got my co-host Jonathan, aka JT the Voice. Let's give a round of applause to that young man. He's our voice of reason. And also, right below me, there's our guy. He's our movie reviewer. He is the guy who does the East Side reviews. Give a big shout outs to Jamel Watson. All right. With that, man, I am happy we got a fucking fully loaded show today. How y'all been doing, man? Let's go with Jonathan, man. How you feeling right now, brother?
I am so exhausted, and I got a big show this weekend.
Ooh.
And there is no time to rest.
What show is that, man?
It's a dental show.
Okay, cool, man.
Yeah, so one of the products that I sell and support is Working See Dental Cam software, and helps make teeth. So when you go to the dentist and you bite the goop, and then they scan the goop, they got the people who make the scanners there, and then you from the scan you get to design it. They got all the people who make the designs and stuff are there, and then you got the people who have the cam software that tells a mill how to mill it. But before you get to the mill, you got to go through the cam, and that's where we come in. You know what I'm saying? And then you got the mill people there who are there too. And then you got everybody who makes the stuff, for all of these different steps of the process. So it's a big Yahoo. But we got people coming in from my business partners coming in from Europe. So it's always fun. This is one of the only times of the year I get to see some of them. And we get to go in, we get to tag team people on some new business. So it's going to be fun, just bringing value to other folks and networking. And most of it's really just networking, trying to find people and see where needs are that we can fill holes in. I always try to go to be like, hey, let me see if I can find somebody who I know that got something to help you out. But I tell you what, man, I'm tired. I's tired. So I'm gonna go up in this mug and I'm gonna do my best to just be chipper and happy and bring value to my people, my organization, my products.
Awesome, man. Give a big shout out to those guys, independent contractors. All right. Now, Jamel, man, how was your week, baby? I seen that you had a pretty proactive Facebook and TikTok this week. What happened this week, baby?
Yeah, this week uploaded a couple of videos. I did some, just a few on TikTok. They'll be on the Historical Voices TikTok this weekend. Also went to the wrestling yesterday. Went to see AEW Dynamite. Their first time coming to Phoenix. Went out, had a pretty decent time at the show. I don't really fuck with crowds like that because I don't like being around that many people, but I had a fun time. I got to sing Chris Jericho's entrance, so that was fun to be a part of that sing-along. I got to SZA with the Acclaim, so that was pretty fun. Yeah, got to see people who I really like. MJF, Will Hobbs, shout out to Ricky Starks. But yeah, I had a good time, and now waiting for this edible to kick in while we're talking. So let's see how long that takes.
Okay, man. All right, man. That's what a double bell for this one, man. Double clap. All right. with that, man. So I didn't really have a big busy weekend, man. We had this snowstorm, ice storm ish over here in West Michigan. So that was pretty fucking stupid.
Have you ever had rain freeze on the way down and hit you in
Bruh.
the side of the head? That's what
not
we
cool.
got.
I had an icicle hit the top of my head. It was when I first came here in Michigan, bro. I wanted to cuss. I wanted to cuss so bad. I hated that shit so much. There's nothing that made. Huh?
But you was in public, huh?
No, my aunt is super religious. I just didn't want to cuss in front of her.
Even Jesus' disciples swore.
Yeah, but like my aunt is like she's like the what they call it it makes
Too far.
me want to shout hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Lord, you're worthy for all of your good. She's like one of those.
That's the jam. Don't knock that. That's the jam.
Oh no,
right
that
there.
song is dope. But that's how hardcore Christian she is, dog.
Make me want to shout.
Which, by the way, if you ever want to listen to a good Christian song that's kind of get saved to, if you ever want to get saved to a good song, that's the song to get saved to. Jamel, you know what? That's my first question before I say what I said. What's a good song? Good is your perfect way of getting saved, Jamel. Let's throw that out there.
Ooh, I got it. Wait, the perfect way or a song?
Yeah. So let me put some dress into that sandwich real fast. So like
because I'm confused by the question.
All right. So Black people, because it's Black History Month, Black people have like constantly been known for their spirituality, right? And their culture of being ingrained into spirituality. So like obviously like the most common is like Christianity. But I'm gonna ask you a question. For you, if you were like, I don't know your religious status or anything like that, but if you had the perfect way, you had like your choice of design, like a wedding party of how to get saved, how would you like to get saved? You got to give me a song, a setting, and like a small brief detail of how you would like to get saved.
Whew, shit. Probably shouldn't say shit when we talk about getting saved.
Now I'm gonna put the fucking camera on
Yeah.
you.
I'm struggling. I would say for a setting, let's go with a Chick-fil-A. For a song, it would be Hootie and the Blowfish, I Only Want to Be With You. And then as I'm, struggling to swallow my chicken sandwich, that song comes on and suddenly someone helps me. And then in the regurgitated chunk that flies out like a cartoon or a movie, I see Jesus in that. And it's a sign for me to turn my life around.
That's how you're going to get saved. That is how you're going to get saved. At a Chick-fil-A, while you about to get choked on a Chick-fil-A sandwich. That's the day that you're going to be like, you know what, Lord, I give myself to you. You know what?
One of the Chick-fil-A people the day ringtones start going off is that song.
Yeah. So wait. So who did the Blowfish? That's wait, repeat it?
No, I wasn't saying anything.
Oh, I'm about to say, so who did the Blowfish? That's the song that's I'd rather be with you. No,
I only want to be with you.
Oh, that's it.
If you've seen Ted, it's the songs that all sound the exact same from the 90s.
Oh,
where he's basically saying the vowels A-I-O-U. Like that's basically how the rhythm of the song. Just say the vowels and then sometimes
A-I-O-U. Oh man, that's dope.
He basically got it.
I think I would have to go with Daniel Chu and the Desperation Band Rescue.
Gotcha. What's that? How'd that go?
I need you, Jesus, to come to my rescue.
Okay.
Where else can I go? There's no other name by which I am saved. Won't you capture me with grace? I will follow you. That's the joint right there, man. That's the joint.
Are you done?
Jason,
Are you done?
I done been stopped singing. Why would you even play that, dog? Just switch back to the three screens and just
I'm
let
just
it go.
joking. I'm just joking with you. I'm just joking with you.
So extra, dog. So extra.
I'm just making sure.
You asked me a question, you gonna let me sing. You know what I'm saying? I'm up in here. They call me the voice. You gonna hear this voice.
You let yourself sing. I'm just joking. You were getting into that song for a second. So that is the
joint,
song,
man. That's the joint. Because the whole thing is you're supposed to be saved. People forget that. Jesus is actively keeping you from an eternity of damnation.
Yeah.
And some people just act like it ain't gonna happen. It ain't gonna happen just because you don't believe it will. You know what else is out there beyond the sky? That should give you some pause. What happens when you die? I don't know. I ain't gonna worry about it. It's the dumbest take you can have.
Now, setting. What's the setting? Where
setting?
Yeah, where would it be at?
Setting, you just fell and scraped your knee. And after 2 minutes of the song just plays. Just plays ambiently.
Okay, so right down the street, if we wanted to go like a Chicago street or Chicago B train, we go hit that, and then all of a sudden you scraped your knee, knowing darn well a homeless man was in the back of that. We okay with that?
Like you fell and you scraped your knee, and the sidewalk was wet, but it ain't rained in like 3 to 4 days. That's when you got to be like, "Oh Lord Jesus,
what did I do?
Do I have AIDS?"
That's the time to convert.
That's right there, right there. You
Lord,
better think about eternity.
Man, please let somebody had just threw out some hot water.
No,
Why is it so warm?
Dumped out Coke.
Oh God! Oh man! So with that, man, damn, that's dope. That's deep.
You see, that would give a man pause.
Yeah. Well, speaking of saved and miracles that are seem kind of weird, I guess you would say, R. Kelly got 20 more years in his recent case, his federal case. He is not gonna be saved from prison.
He just got out, didn't he? He just got out like last month, right?
Something like that, dog.
And now he going right the frick back.
Yeah, 20 and they dog, 20 years. R. Kelly is in his 60s, right? And last time I checked,
he's in his 60s right now.
R. Kelly is in his 60s right now, from what I remember. R. Kelly is
56.
56. I'm sorry, 56. Yes, R. Kelly is 56 years old. Think about that.
He gonna be Donald Trump's age when he gets out. That's crazy.
Yes, unless he's out with good behavior. So I think they do offer parole on
this.
Well,
I don't think they have any young women in that jail, so he might get out early.
He might get out. They might got young boys though. Remember, he had that one.
I didn't hear nothing about R. Kelly and no boys.
Nah, man. Remember they had that one that he dressed up. He had that dressed up. He was making the tower boy. You don't remember that shit? That shit happened.
I thought it was a girl though.
It was a girl that he made into the boy. That was intentionally trying to make it into a boy. Yes, that was one of them.
Right, but all I'm saying is, I'm sure there's a parish that deserves that heat a little more.
I don't know, man. As Chris Rock said in The Longest Yard, in 2 months they're gonna look like Beyonce. So
that was a really good line.
Okay, I wanted to do something real quick since we brought up R. Kelly, because on R. Kelly's Wikipedia page, in the first sentence, it reads Robert Sylvester Kelly, fucking country ass, commonly known as R. Kelly, is an American former recording artist, federal convict, and repeat sex offender. I wanted to see what they did. I'm like, okay, first sentence it mentions him being a convict and a sex offender. What they do for Harvey Weinstein. So
I'm sorry, Jamil, God dang it, Robert Sylvester Kelly. So we got to refer to him as R. Kelly now, from now on. R. Kelly got 20 more years.
Sylvester. So, but I wanted to see.
Yo, JT, would be like Sylvester Stallone. I would have said so to you. Yo, Sharifa, Sparkle. You really better be careful what you said. You don't say to me.
Anyway, what I was the thing that I wanted to do was I wanted to see how did they kick off Harvey Weinstein's, because it's like, oh, did they mention the horrible shit up front? And they did. It says Harvey Weinstein, an American former film producer and convicted sex offender. So there's some fair and balance. I just wanted to make sure, like, okay, they didn't push the sex offender shit down.
You see, so I got a problem though. I got a problem, like, because sex offender has a wide variety of things. I feel like it needs to be like, and convicted rapist Harvey Weinstein. Like, you got to use the R word for that one. You got to tell people he was out there coercing.
Was that his conviction? Though? I don't think he was convicted of rape. I think he was convicted of sex offender as a sex offender. But I get what you're saying.
It's a Venn diagram.
Let's look up Dr. Cosby. Let's see what Bill. Okay, Bill.
No, he's not a doctor no more. He's not a doctor no more.
I refer to him as Bill. Fucking goddamn Don Lemon with these tough questions. He's not a doctor anymore. All right, damn. So anyway, Bill's kicks off with he's an American comedian, actor, and media person. So his alleged crimes, those have been pushed down to the 5th paragraph of his little introduction on Wikipedia. Not until he gets to Cosby. So since Bill is no longer in jail, I guess they had to rearrange some stuff, because I bet a couple months ago Bill's stuff was up there. I don't know why I did this. It was just, you mentioned R. Kelly, and then my mind went racing. So history, no fault. You the host, you got to tighten us up.
No, I love that. I love the fact that you did some research in the background. We made sure that we covered all bases and boundaries. We cut twice. Oh, we measured twice.
Listen, there's a whole bunch of words for these people, but I think the best way to describe them is just motherfucker.
That is
also fuck Karl Malone.
Motherfucking R. Kelly. Motherfucking Bill Cosby.
Fuck Karl Malone. Let's get that on.
Karl Malone.
Actually, my first question is the fact that we just had the NBA weekend, and this was my question right after R.
I got this. No, go right ahead. Go right ahead.
Yeah, Karl Malone, who was the actual dunk contest guy.
Karl Malone.
And don't get me wrong, I'm going to be honest.
My son with the mailman.
Man, this is fucking wild. This is the fucking.
What's your question, history?
Oh. Man, I need some juice, y'all. This is crazy.
Bro, you done fucked up my grease. I done fucked up. Wait, let me get a breathe.
What are you trying to say? Is it about R. Kelly?
Sylvester. Slack Kelly.
Bro, what is this?
Slack.
Bro, I don't understand why this is so funny, but the mailman, R. Kelly, and Harvey Weinstein all in the same conversation, and Bill Pop. Dog, think about this in context, dog. We got Bill Cosby, who's like really like willing to deliver the fucking pills. So would technically he be the mailman and not Karl Malone?
Ooh, that's a good point. I mean, it's too bad he's not a doctor anymore, because a doctor giving out pills is much more appropriate.
He was administrating. Yeah, he was a minister and stuff. And then, oh my God.
That's basically the setup for a horrible bar joke. So a comedian, a singer, and a movie producer walk into a bar.
It's teen night.
Oh my gosh.
So a former NBA legend is also there.
Damn.
But anyway, what were you going to ask this history?
All right. So Karl Malone was under scrutiny because of the fact that he was one of the actual judge. See, dog, stop that shit. Because that's what I remember people saying.
It is the best line in the episode. It is the best line in that Static Shock episode, y'all. Oh. So quotable. It's stuck out of my mind. I always remembered that.
Why is this so funny? Oh man. Oh my god. I wonder how did Phil Lamar bring that scene together after hearing that dad just get
Okay.
He did the dad too. No, I'm just kidding.
I know.
No, it was Kevin Michael Richardson who's dad in Static Shock.
Yeah, but like, how do you not have a fucking serious like? If I was a voiceover artist, dog, I straight up would have kept that fucking laughter in the way that he responded and that shit. I'd have been like, dog, seriously, bro, you believed in that scene so hard. You believe
it's probably an outtake somewhere in Warner Brothers vault. They got an outtake of that somewhere.
Oh,
again, God. You got to ask your question history. I'm not gonna say.
Oh man, this is Black History Month. We are laughing at the fall.
We are talking about the wrong black people of history. How about who is your Black History person of the month, history or the week?
All right, well, yeah. Let's go with that first, so we can get on the serious note, so I can ask my questions. Because you asked me about Don Lemon, and I have a question about Don Lemon too. Well, damn. All right, so
and the worst part is Don Lemon is a fruity Negro.
Bro, you heard about that shit, right? Dog. Right? Hold up, dog. Wait, I gotta highlight my face, dog. I told y'all last week. I said that you gotta be okay with accepting a little bit of pedophilia. You like a little bit of pedophile in your fucking shit. And I told y'all that shit. I think that is so fucking hilarious that this week, this man has a warning for being sexist. And he has to go they making this man take classes. And they saying that this is his final warning. And apparently the staff is pissed at Don Lemon for saying that a politician is out of her prime.
That's the worst thing you can say about a person.
That's the worst thing you can say about a female. For real.
I think.
Oh my
Probably
God.
not, hey, come over to Harvey Weinstein's place.
Whoa, hold up. We got a story because I had to Google Don Lemon.
51 years
Don
old.
Lemon has an ally that you probably wouldn't expect.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't expect Cher to be his ally. Is it Cher?
No, it is Candace Owens.
Yes.
I was close.
Oh my gosh. Don Lemon, yeah.
Does she know he's gay? She'll leave him as soon as she hears that.
Damn. Here's what she said. People are gonna force me to actually defend Don Lemon for saying something that simply made sense. God damn. Don might lose his job. In fact, they're going to now make him take diversity and inclusion, which is goddamn. He's facing all of this pressure because he's clearly sexist, right? I'm sorry. What was wrong with what Don Lemon just said? Is it the part that it happens to be true? It's not allowed at CNN. Why is everybody acting so offended by the fact that he basically said water is wet? Okay, what did he say?
So
who did he call out of their prime?
He called a politician. The politician is I'm gonna look at the politician. Nikki Haley, yeah. She's like a politician from South Carolina, I want to say.
She's running for president. She was the former governor of South Carolina. Yep. She was an ambassador to the UN under Donald Trump. So you know her.
I've been to South Carolina, and yeah, she's definitely past her prime.
She's 51 years old, bruh. She is 51.
I said what I said.
Yeah, she's 51 years old. And think about it like this. Like how many times, and here's my thing. I'm going to use another white person to describe this white person situation. Is the fact of how many times we say the same thing about Tom Brady. That he's not in his prime no more.
I haven't said that shit as long as he's putting up numbers. I never said that.
There's a lot of people who said that he was not in his prime. Even when he had his last game, they were saying that he was not playing as good.
I said that like 10, 12 years ago, and then the nigga had another Hall of Fame career. I thought it sense. Just like, all right. Well, after this, it was just like, man, Tom in 2013, 2012, that area, it was just like, man, Tom Brady looking a little slow. Might be time for him to retire. Then it's like, then he He won most Super Bowls, had another Hall of Fame career, and now everybody got to be silent because, well, he won. He beat the internet. Like, that's the thing. That's the greatest accomplishment of Tom Brady. That Atlanta shit coming back from them, because internet was ready to roast the shit out of Tom Brady. Had they lost that game, can't say that no more.
Hell no. But that's my point, though.
Shit
Like,
too.
we say that about a lot of people. Is that like, hey, we gotta accept that Tom Brady is not in his prime. We said that. So for Don Lemon to come around and be like, oh, this woman is out of her prime, which, by the way, she said that about all the politicians. So you can't go with no ages. You can't go with no sexist outlook. You can't, because of the fact that the person also said it themselves as well. And guess what else? If you want to say what else is going to say that you're out of your prime, science. Science, you're going to say that you're out of your prime. I think the only problem that he made is the fact that he said females are out of their prime. If that's the case, if you want to say that, because definitely it doesn't seem like it's isolating a person.
Hold on.
Realistically,
but
no.
I don't feel like out of the prime counts if he's not talking about menopause. If he said some shit about a woman has menopause, oh, she's out of her prime, that would be terribly offensive, because he's indicating that only childbearing is the only thing that matters for you to be prime. Yeah. But he was talking about a woman's political ability. And he's saying that she don't know her left from her right no more. She don't know what's up. She's out of her prime. That don't seem terribly offensive to me at all. In fact, it seems innocuous.
Yeah. Well, speaking of people who
if he was meaning prime like age or something like that, I'm like, she's 51.
She's 51.
That make her a youngster compared to the people who've been running for president.
Hold on, ain't Don Lemon though?
Yeah. He is.
That's
what I'm saying, dog. It's so wild. All right, speaking of people who's out of their prime.
No, Don Lemon ain't 51. Don Lemon is 56. What the fuck? That don't seem right.
So you mad at a dude that's older than her? Oh my God. All right.
He's 56.
No. Move on.
Yo,
right, let's move on.
No.
You're making me louder than I need to be. This place. No.
Yo,
we need to move.
Let's move on. Crack.
No.
Black really don't crack.
Hey,
yo,
we're gonna move on, dog. Hold up, bro. We gotta move on. The Brat.
He's also from. He's from where?
He's
from Baton Rouge.
He's not from.
Your cousin.
He's northeast. He's northeast. I'm southeast. So, but yeah, the Brat has just announced that she is having a baby at 48 years old with her wife Jessica Judy Harris. Now, I'm gonna ask you real fast, JT, this question, man. How do you think now with the announcement of Rihanna having a baby, the Brat hasn't having a baby? I'm gonna ask you a simple question. At this point in time, did you think that the Brat would have a baby? I thought that she had kids.
I don't think of the Brat at all. So I was very surprised to hear that she was still relevant. But like, is it really? If you tell me that the Brat had a baby, I don't give a shit. The Brat is a rapper. Did she put out a new album? Then let her go be a mom somewhere. It's like, I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, how is her baby relevant? Is the baby going to be a rapper? That would be great. You see, I don't even see why. Like, why do we care?
I think we should care because we had the official youngest child to ever perform at the halftime show about a week or two ago. I don't know about you. That's pretty weird and impressive in a weird way.
That baby ain't do shit. That baby was good.
Like
mama
he was sitting there taking a jump as we watched.
Nepotism like a motherfucker on that one. Seriously.
I'll tell you, that baby would have made it more interesting if she would have like put up an X-ray right quick, you know.
No, for real though. The question really is not about that. It's the fact that I was going to ask a question about the Brat. The Brat has been never really mentioned when it came to female rappers. The question that I'm coming up with is because of the fact that Missy Elliott just got announced for her Hall of Fame, and that she's going to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. Rightly so.
And my question is too, because the Brat was also during that time, and it makes me question the idea of like, how would you compete her career to a person like Missy Elliott? That's my
the Brat was more street, and Missy was a little bit more mainline.
Yeah,
and I think the appeal, you got to get on the radio to be popular. I'm gonna talk more about that later, but you got to get on the radio to be popular. So when you have terribly explicit, very raw female rappers, you gotta be a hip hop head to know about them and like really dip into their stuff. You know what I mean? And the Brat was a little bit before my time because I didn't really get to listen to anything besides the radio till I got cable, and that was when I started paying for it when I moved out. You know what I'm saying? So.
Fair.
You know, it was in my 20s by the time that I was actually listening to the Brat's type of music. But I think the real thing is you got to get on the radio in order to make it big.
Yeah,
and that's probably why we don't hear the Brat mentioned as much.
Yeah, man.
But if you talk about some songs, you know what I'm saying, that thong song with the Brat on it was.
Man, I want to say because I feel like I remember the Brat being pretty nice. It's just the fact that
Foxy Brown, wasn't it?
No, that wasn't Foxy Brown. But you remember the Brat from What Do You Like with Tyrese. So what do you like? Me on that song was pretty good, man.
That was dirty. Yeah, you can't play that on the radio.
Not too well. Shit, they played it in New Orleans. They played that shit out of that. But I mean,
the uncensored version.
But they have songs like this, like bounce music. I'm in love with a Juicy. I'm covering it up a little bit. I'm in love with a Juvie. He got a big and know how to use it. I'm like, bruh.
Sir, my ears are crystal.
But you already know. You already know that any small dick radio exec is going to be like, we're not putting that on the radio.
Yeah.
Because he got offended by that shit because he looked down when he was taking the lead. So I'm telling you, man, like these
guys, really quickly. So I'm glad you brought up Missy Elliott because this is an important point. She hasn't been officially inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She's among the nominees for this year's class of 2023.
Yeah.
So the voting period and the winners, those are going to be announced in April, and the ceremony looks like it's going to take place. Yeah, the inductees are going to be revealed in May, and then there's fans vote. There's actually fan voting for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Just go to vote.rockhall.com and vote for the people who you want to be a part of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So Missy Elliott, she did make history. She's the first female rapper to be inducted into the Songwriters Hall of Fame, as well as the first female rapper to actually now be nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, which like either way, like she's still making history. So congratulations to her. So
she's still making history and history making. We can get behind that, can't we, y'all?
Honestly, I thought, since we are tangentially on the wow, there are some nominees this year. You got Tribe Called Quest, you got Rage Against the Machine, you got Missy Elliott. Like those are like just shit that's dope. But then you got old school people like the Spinners, my nigga Willie Nelson. Like there are a lot of across music, a lot of great nominees. So anyway, what I was gonna say is Missy could be a Hall of Fame, not a Hall of Fame, could be a Super Bowl halftime performer. Like I think when Missy was in her prime,
they only put Kate Bush up here because of Stranger Things.
Yeah, I mean that's not untrue, but to me, it's just
really. Come on now.
You think of her like when you think of Missy Elliott, she's the thing that I loved about Madonna's halftime performance is that even though Madonna was, as Don Lemon would say, past her prime, she didn't skimp on the budgets. She didn't skimp on like the pageantry, the presentation. And I feel Missy Elliott, that was always her edge, is that she was so creative and like the visuals of what she would do with her music and with the dancing. Like she would put on a hell of a show. Like just with the features alone that she would put on a hell of a show, even today. So I think
that joint she did with Pharrell and his whole rapping as a goddamn as a marionette, as a puppet or whatever. That mess was crazy. And so you have him on the song, but you don't have him in the music video. She found a way to put him in the music video because Missy is so creative. I mean, if you watch any of her stuff, man, like get your freak on where your hair coming out and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like. That stuff was new. It was crazy. Nobody ever did nothing like that. And so you definitely, man, I'm trying to log in right now if Google would act right. And I'm about to get up over here and vote for Missy Elliott and the Spinners. I guess I'll go Rage, A Tribe Called Quest, Soundgarden,
So one could argue that she is like Karl Malone and she delivered.
Whoa. Don't put that energy on Missy Elliott.
She is the mailman.
Let's not say Missy and Karl Malone in the same sentence. We ain't saying them in the same sentence.
She delivers.
I like Missy Elliott.
I do like.
I like her.
All right, so let's move on to another primitive female. Angela Davis just found out that she is the descendant of one of the 101 passengers who came over here on the Mayflower. Jamel, I'm gonna ask you this question, bro. Knowing your family history, how important is that to you?
It is very important. Like, we're only able to trace our generations back to my grandmother, her dad. Like, she knows her dad was African, doesn't know where in Africa. So it's important, and something I do want to find out, like, and do research in one day. Not using like the ancestry.com or 23andMe type shit, because I don't really trust them. That's a conspiracy theory I got. I think they collecting data just so they can track niggas easier. But I do think it's important to know your family history, especially when it comes to things like diseases and just knowing who you're related to. I think that's something that's cool and important.
I just feel like the military already took my shit, so they already know who I am. They got
They got your stuff on. They gonna have a copy of you when the clones come out, dog.
Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like,
you're gonna have to fight you.
Yeah, it's
like,
gonna be like
that Will Smith movie, Gemini Man. It's just a 20-year version that's a younger version of you with good knees, just ready to take you out. No gray hair, nothing. Just ready to put you down.
Taco Bell. Look, I just looked at the standings, and Missy Elliott and A Tribe Called Quest are actually at the bottom of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee votes. Tribe Called Quest had about 56,000 votes. Cyndi Lauper was at the top with 262,000 and change.
Like, Cindy's deserving. Like, I'll give Cyndi Lauper her.
What song does she have besides "Girls Just Want to Have Fun"? Remind me, please.
Time after time. That's another her other.
She did that one. See, I
time after time is Cyndi Lauper. She also was heavily involved with the Goonies too. Like, with the Goonies soundtrack, she was heavily involved in that. Okay. Like, she's got bona fide. Like, she's got some bona fides to get in there.
I mean, Missy Elliott though, bro, she got one of my favorite songs, which is called "Sock It to Me, Dog." I think that's like one of the hardest songs that she came out with, coincidentally, with the Brat on it. So,
Missy, I kind of do want to know your Black History Month person for the week, since this is our final week. And then I want to. And I want to hear
on here like 20 minutes ago, y'all.
Well, I was doing my thing, and I was going to do my Black History fact at the end of it. I was trying to. I was theoring, but y'all didn't let me drive.
We got to do the high episode one time and just see where we go.
I was theoring, and it's been a long time. I think that this is repressed.
It's legal in both states that we're in.
It's suppressed energy because of the fact that we haven't had a salty week this year at all. So with that, the last thing is actually Jimmy Carter just entered hospice. He's 98 years old. They're not saying that he's completely sick, but it's not looking so good for him. The next thing is Boosie has canceled his joint album with T.I. And the reason why he canceled his joint album with T.I. is because of the fact that T.I. just went to in the middle of an investigation, he reported on a crime that his cousin did to actually get out of going to getting more time in prison. So
but his cousin is also passed, and his cousin was also the one that said, "Go tell the joke that I did it." So if T.I. is gonna go report on some stuff, it might as well be the thing that his cousin gave him the green light on to get out of jail.
Yes.
So Boosie got mad about the fact that T.I. was snitching on a nigga who told him to snitch on him. What? Okay. I mean, if you said once a snitch, always a snitch, then you know.
Dead dude. Man, Boosie is one of not my greatest parts of Louisiana. I'm gonna admit he is one of my problematic parts of Louisiana, and I I really would thoroughly like to say I enjoyed you and Wipe Me Down. And I appreciate a time or two when you helped me encourage people to bust it wide open. But like, you mean I just have problems with the man. This is one of those times where you got to separate the artist from their art. I enjoy his music. I enjoy some of his shit, but he fucks up so bad. He fucks up so bad. So bad. Like, all right, well, Jamel, I'm gonna ask you this question. Who's an artist that you thoroughly enjoy but fucks up so bad? Can't include Michael Jackson or R. Kelly. One of those two people.
But Kanye's still there?
You know what?
That would be the answer. If we're including Kanye, that'd be the answer.
That is shooting fish in a barrel history. Come on now. With a shotgun.
If we ain't including Kanye.
It's the most obvious answer, sir.
Damn, because Kanye West, you know what? Kanye West is like what Dave Chappelle said about LeBron James joining the WNBA, which, by the way, is going to be my next question. It's like he's going to persist to score 800 points on these motherfuckers. That's what it feels like with Kanye West. Like, his music is really questionable, especially the Christian ones, dog. But at the same token, I was kind of like, with Hurricane, I was like, damn, that beat is so fucking hard. The song itself, though, is definitely a slumper. But the music is the only reason why it's a slumper. So, but speaking of
he's still alive too. Yo, I'm just on because again, you say a name and then it's just like, oh, let me look him up. Jimmy Carter.
Doing the podcast. Stop.
Like, no, it's just really quickly. Shout out to Jimmy Carter. He is the longest. He's lived longer than any other ex-president. Usually, a lot of them niggas just died as soon as they left. He's also post-presidency. Like, you look up the first 15 presidents, them dudes died almost immediately after they left. And
Jimmy Carter is almost universally hated by Republicans for just being a good person.
Yeah,
He'd go out and build Habitat for Humanity, and he was a carpenter, and he just gives to people, and they just can't stand it. And the funny thing is, you're like, well, what would Jesus do? He was just a carpenter, and he just built stuff for people, and he just gave people things. They just couldn't stand it.
Just a simple peanut farmer from Georgia.
Well, and he sold his peanut farm when he was. He sold his peanut farm. He sold his business when he became president, so there wouldn't be a conflict of interest. Why is that so hard?
That was cute. I remember when people did that. Anyway, history. Let's keep going. Sorry, I keep
who is your person for Black History Month, my brothers? We got to move.
Man, I got my last question, bro. You missing out my last question. Brittany Griner has just signed to a 1-year deal for her contract with the Mercury. I'm gonna ask this question because I feel like you gonna have the perfect response to this, JT. She looked like she was all happy. She was full of smiles and everything like that. How many points you think Brittany Griner gonna score in her first game on these motherfuckers?
Okay, so let me ask you like 2-3 questions before we go. First off, was the Mercury her former team?
Yes, Mercury was a former team.
Okay, the ones that let her get taken by Russia. Got it. Okay. Yes. Second, how many points was she averaging the year she got abducted by the Gulag?
I think she was 13 points, right, Jamel?
If that's the case, I think she's going to be right back in stride. You're going to see a 15-point game from her. She's going to, them 2 extra free throws is going to make it, tip it over the top. But I think she's going to come back. And like the funny thing is, they talk about, what shape is she going to be in and stuff. If you in the Gulag and you ain't doing push-ups every day to fight these other hoes off of you, then I obviously don't know what the Gulag is like.
So she averaged 17.7 points, total rebounds 7.6, and she had 1.8 assists.
All right, I'm going 15 points.
She's
Quote me on this later because I'm not going to remember, but I say 15 points and I'm sticking with that.
Gotcha. I just feel like there's a little bit of anger. What you think, Jamel?
Probably.
Them edibles is kicking in, ain't they?
Nah, I'm thinking she'll probably drop she'll have a 20-point game when she comes back, and then she'll settle. She'll slide back into her role. She'll have a big first night, and then things will shake out. They're for sure gonna probably get her like an MVP or something this year. Just to sorry, Brittany, sorry for the shit you went through. Here's a trophy.
Fuck. Okay, fam.
Come hang out with me next weekend, Candy, if you want some edibles. All right, we'll get it done.
So my I'm sorry. This week this Black History Month, we decided that we was gonna actually pick one person each that we think we should talk about for just like a minute or two for Black History Month. Now, this person does not have to include, we have a list of people that we did not include. Obviously, the normal suspects like Barack Obama, Martin Luther King, Ruby Bridges, Rosa Parks, Frederick Douglass, the normal people that you're only supposed to talk about maybe once a year, or when you want to be a conservative and you want to say that this person would not be proud of this, right? So with that, we all picked our own specific person. So in this particular case, I did pick a one person. My kids and I, we actually do have these Black History cards. Fast shout out to a family member who actually gave it to us. Thanks a lot, Auntie. I appreciate you. She sent us actually a bunch of cards, and I came across this one person because I remember there was a school in New Orleans named after this person. Her name is Phyllis Wheatley. I'm going to read the back of the card real quick. But she was a descendant, and she was born in 1753 to December 5th of 1784. Now, this person, she was African-American poet. She did publish books in English in the English colonies. She's one of the first African Americans to do this at this point in time. She was forced into slavery as a personal servant after being taken from West Africa in 1753, and she learned English, Latin, Greek, and theology. In addition into pursuing her literary work, which was a rarity in times where most slaves were forbidden to read. Like, that's the thing, you know what I mean? Think about like Boondocks. Man, you ain't supposed to read, but you wrote a manuscript. This girl wrote the manuscript at this point in time. And then also on top of that, she published her first poem at the age of 13 years old. Now, today's time, that's about 30 years old in the lifespans of that person. But continued to put others' works into print, including her most famous work, which is a poem on various subjects that included about slavery and integration and stuff like that. But she also did poems about the President George Washington at the time, and then also he was actually inspired by her work at one point in time as well. And she was eventually freed. She was married. The sad thing is, though, she still died poor. And the reason being is because of the fact that there was the Revolutionary War going on at the same time. So my person is Phyllis Wheatley, the writer, the poet, the first to pretty much do it during slavery as well. JT, what is your Black History person this week?
My Black History person is a woman called Eunice Wayman, but you might understand her better as her stage name, Miss Nina Simone.
Okay.
Now, Nina Simone was born in 1933, and she originally aimed to become the best classical pianist that there was. She actually aimed to become the first Black concert classical pianist. And guess what? She got to Carnegie Hall, but it wasn't playing classical music. It was doing her own thing. And what actually happened, what got her into singing, was she was playing music at a bar to help pay for her family. They paid her $90 a week. And that was more money than she knew what to do with at the time. So she was going up in there. And then, she go in there the first day and she plays a whole bunch. And then they're like, look, you want to keep this job? You got to sing. So she just started singing. She never sang before, really. She practiced the piano for hours a day. She had no social life because she was like, I was gonna be like, she was like one of them Asian kids. This Black History Month, y'all. She was aiming for excellence. So she put in like 7-8 hours on the piano a day. You can imagine what that does to your social life. You know what I'm saying? But Nina Simone, you know what ruined her dream of being the first Black classical pianist, y'all? Racism.
Shocker.
Racism. Nina used her inimitable, incomparable voice to speak out against injustice. And she was ultimately blacklisted from the music community by her revolutionary songs like Mississippi Goddamn, or you might probably be more familiar with her cover of Billie Holiday's Strange Fruit. Now, I personally prefer her version of Strange Fruit too. But when you listen to that song, she is talking about Black people being hung in trees. And you can't get away from these images when you hear the song. The song is haunting and it sticks with you, and it's supposed to. And so this Black History Month, go on and play you some Nina Simone. Go on and listen to what she has to say. There's actually a great documentary on Netflix called What Happened, Miss Simone. And so if you want to learn more about Nina Simone this Black History Month, you can go on and watch that on Netflix. And, like James Baldwin, Nina Simone left America. She was so disgusted with the racial injustice and lack of civil rights progress and the abuse of her husband / manager, who absolutely took advantage of her. And she ended up dying in France like James Baldwin did. And so, and she was at the ripe old age of 70, which she died in 2003, y'all, 2003. So she lived to see some civil rights stuff pass, but she also knew it wasn't enough, because in this day and age, you can still get arrested just for being Black.
Yeah.
So until that changes, I think she got something that she's right to talk about.
Yeah, man. Now Jamel, man, what is your person, buddy?
All right, I figure let's laugh a little bit to close things out. We all know,
yeah, because this is our last week.
A lot of iconic female comedians, Black female comedians. Your Wanda Sykes, your Whoopi Goldbergs, your Moniques, and women comedians in general who are legendary. But none would have gotten to where they were if it hadn't been for a woman named Loretta Mary Atkin, otherwise known as Jackie, aka Mom's Mabel. She was a star on the Chitlin circuit, the circuit around mainly in the South, where a lot of African American performers, would kind of cut their teeth and get their start from comics, in places that were Black dominated, from singers and musicians like Muddy Waters, like Ray Charles, like Dorothy Dandridge, Sammy Davis Jr., to comics like Red Fox, comics like Flip Wilson, and of course, the person that we're talking about, Moms Mabley. She was incredibly influential when it came to not just female stand-up comedy, but Black comedians as well. During her career in the 1940s, she was also very much openly gay. And that was also making her a pioneer on that respect as well. Whoopi Goldberg has given her a lot of her flowers. Wanda Sykes actually portrayed her in the the Prime show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Where the hell I get Mabel from? If you've seen Nutty Professor the Clumps, the Grandma Clump character is basically Eddie Murphy's tribute to Moms Mabley. And from legendary comics like Bill Cosby, even though, he's Bill Cosby, she also served as a mentor to some of the later generations of comics as well. So if you are a woman who is telling raw, in-your-face jokes, you have Moms Mabley to think about. So salute to one Loretta Atkin, a.k.a. Moms Mabley.
Hell yeah, man. So with that, man, this is the end of our year, man. This is our first time actually doing a Black History Month season, man. And I think we did well, man. With that, man, we about to go back to schedule next week, the normal shit next week. This was fucking wild and fun. With that, man, this was a really good Black History Month, man. So, gentlemen, thanks a lot for making Black History with me this past.
The show ain't over.
The show is not over, man. But it is what it is, bro. So, with that, man, this was a pretty good month so far. With that, let's do our movie review.
Let's get into it.
Once a week, we do our movie review. We're gonna bring back I Say What I Said next month, but every time after we do I Say What I Said, we do our actual movie review. This week, what is our movie, Mr. Jamel?
This week we are doing The Wood. It was chosen by History for the month of Black History. It is a coming of age comedy and drama directed by, and I hope I don't butcher this brother's name too much, Rick Famuyiwa. I believe he's Nigerian or something like that. And it stars Omar Epps, Richard T. Jones, and Tay Diggs as three pretty much life friends for well over a decade, since the days of middle school. And it is on the day of Roland, aka Tay Diggs, his wedding, and we take a little trip down memory lane as they explore and get Roland there for his wedding. So let's start things off with history. History, what was the reason that you chose this movie for the
month? So the reason why I picked this movie, man, I felt like this was my coming of age movie. I've always loved this movie from the beginning, where you have the Moon Man coming into Ahmed's back in the days, all the way to the very fucking end. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I felt like it was a sense of kind of growing up in my portion. Like, yeah, we didn't have like gangs like the Bloods and Crips per se down there, but we had goons. We had people who was Magnolia soldiers and shit like that. And you kind of still had to watch where you talk, but they still had those girls. I mean, obviously, if you watch New Orleans, you seen the whole dancing and shit like that as well. You seen popping. Y'all call it twerking today, but it was popping. You seen that. You seen the culture of just being around those people, man. And you had to be a specific kind of breed of person to be down there. And I felt like this movie talked to me in a way where you didn't have a country bumpkin going to the city, right? And when I came to Michigan, for sure, I was always the country bumpkin who came to the city. That's how they looked at it. Even though my place, where I'm from, was far bigger, has more of a population than Grand Rapids, but yet still, I was considered the country boy, which makes no fucking sense, right? But with that, man, this movie spoke to me, man, because I felt like Roland, I felt like Slim, and I definitely, when I came here, I was Big Mike. So with that, man, this was my film, man, and I felt like this is a movie that talks to more specifically men and boys growing up. I felt like this is a film that's a need to be to actually show your black son when you grow up.
All right. So JT, you've had a wedding before, so have you, History. What did you think of the initial setup with the wedding? And also the decision early on to have Omar Epps, look at and talk to the camera, and then them drop that shit at a certain point. What did you think of kind of just the initial setup?
That was stupid. When they stopped and looked at the camera, who you talking to? I was like, oh great, it's gonna be one of them movies. And then they never picked that bit back up. And it did not work. And it seemed like it was part of a lot of ideas that this film had that were left on the cutting room floor. I bet you there's a director's cut of The Wood out there somewhere that's just phenomenal, with a whole bunch of extra background and a whole bunch more characters. And the movie is 2.5 hours, and there's so much funny shit in there that they recorded, they just couldn't get it in runtime. I bet you. But ultimately, that felt like a shtick. I really wanted that shtick to keep going, because from the start, when that dude was floating around, and the MTV logo came up on that helmet, I was like, oh, that's a classic. I wrote down classic opening. That was great. I was so pleased. And then he stopped and talked to the camera. I was like, oh, we gonna get an intimate story told to us and shit too? Yeah. And then no, it just went back to regular ass movie as soon as that mug was over.
Well, see, I think that's because of the fact that you officially was getting the perspective of Big Mike. I keep saying Big Mike, but Mike, you got you was getting the perspective of Mike first, and then all of a sudden, when he started being there longer, it was not about Mike anymore. It was about Roland, and it was about Slim. But
all you had to do was keep the movie going, and you would do the same thing.
Well, I would
see Malcolm in the Middle. It's basically that.
Yeah, but I'm gonna raise you. I'm gonna raise you better. I'm gonna raise you better. I wish that it would have started off Mike, but when it started changing the perspectives, I wish that it was not Mike talking to the camera no more. Then you got Roland talking to the camera. Then you got
Right.
Slim talking to the camera.
And you got everybody's little story.
Yeah,
Yep.
that would have kept glued it a little bit more, but it became
That
about
would have been a
Mike.
good concept. That would have been a good concept.
That would have been a better setup. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, Rick. You and your that's what you should have did 30 years ago almost. This movie was kind of significant because I think this is the first time that we saw Taye Diggs and Omar Epps on the same screen in the same movie. You know, they were two of the more prominently featured young dark brothers of the 1990s, of course. Denzel was in a league of his own. Sam Jackson was getting there. Wesley was, and probably still is, king of the dark skin. But Omar Epps and Taye Diggs, they were coming up. So what did y'all think of their really the chemistry of Omar Epps, Richard T. Jones, and Taye Diggs? Because we spend a lot of this movie with those three. So first we'll go to you, Jake. We'll go to you, history first.
I thought the chemistry worked, man. I felt like they were genuinely friends who grew up with each other. I think that they did a good job by doing that. I think the awkward thing is, like, obviously their younger selves felt like sometimes they actually trumped the actual older self acting. So I would say that, like, the younger kids version of them actually did an amazing job as being brothers and being like really tight-knit friends who just got each other into shit and just all of a sudden, like, oh, we got to navigate this situation. So, like, talk about like the Stacy situation, beating up fucking Mike over grabbing Alicia's ass. Like, they were like, oh no, man, you just better run. And then when your boy Mike got dropped by Stacy, they were like, man, come on, man, stop. Like, and they grabbed him back, and then Stacy said, what? And you see them like, no, I don't know. Like, they turned that shit off. So I love the fact that they got him in trouble and they tried to like do some type of like damage control, but really they kept like, they realized that like, maybe we gonna get our ass up too. Is this new guy worth it? They did a good job. That's what I think siblings act like, you know what I mean? So I think that like sometimes you miss that though when they become adults. So, but I think that was intentional because I showed that they actually grew apart in some form or fashion though as well.
So according to Eminem, we gotta call it Alicia's tush.
Damn.
Damn. throwing it back because she was 14 at the time. But the funny thing is, the character who plays Alicia, y'all, was actually 29.
Yes.
He was married to Mekhi Phifer around this time. They had a kid together. Yeah. It's one of those.
Yeah.
Hollywood.
So, and one of the things about Hollywood is they always like, they'll give you one. So if you know, Taye Diggs was in Brown Sugar or what was Love and Basketball? Was that the other one? Was he in that?
No, that was Omar Epps.
That was Omar. I'm sorry. Anyway, but those movies were popping off around that time. And so Hollywood kind of had like a one Negro rule. You know, you can get one leading man, and that was
wait.
So Taye Diggs was kind of a big
Stella
deal.
Got a Groove Back. Stella Got a Groove Back. That was his big one.
He was in that one with
Angela Bassett.
Angela.
Yeah, and, God bless him, like Bassett.
So to have these dudes on the screen at the same time, and to a lesser extent Richard T. Jones, but you know he's still a prominent actor. To have them on the screen at the same time was a big deal at the time, back in the 90s, in 1999. So yes. It was a good thing to have them on there. I thought that the fellas, the three big guys as adults, did a great job of feeling like boys who had been there the whole time. I got the impression from watching the movie that these dudes would go out and get a beer in real life after having filmed together. That was how good their camaraderie was. Now, I'll tell you what, Taye Diggs does a terrible drunk guy. Like,
y'all know really that. Y'all know that. You probably should.
He should have just drunk. If they would have actually had a drunk Taye Diggs on screen, it would have been a much more entertaining movie.
Fucking up his line.
Out of here. I'm trying to get up in the air. That bad.
See that? And you know, it was
forever.
Girl, don't you know?
It's funny that you brought that up, JT, because in the like late 90s, there were a lot of movies where you would see kind of the same rotations of like people being in there. You might get Nia Long and Omar Epps in this one. You got Sanaa Lathan and Tate Diggs in this one. Ooh, Mekhi Phifer, you're gonna be over here. And like they would pick and choose. So whenever multiple of these people got together, it's just like, oh, one, I imagine that Omar Epps, Mekhi Phifer, and Tate Diggs have gone on a lot of the same auditions. Like, just we need a dark skin brother, look good ball. Say no more. And they're all there. So I imagine they all kind of know each other. A lot of the women too, like Nia Long and Regina King and Taraji and all them. So it is cool, like with stuff like this and the Best Man stuff, where you're getting multiple of these people who might be competing with each other for roles. You now got them all in one joint. So I thought that was cool, and I agree with y'all. The chemistry of both the kids and the adults was really good. Like the adults, it was, yeah, they might not have hung out in a while, but anytime they get together, it's just like it's basically back to where it was. And then with the kids, it's the dumb shit that kids do. You know, little light sexual assault, grabbing Alicia's tush, you know, just a little bit. But you know, making dumb bets and thinking blue balls cause you to like dumb shit that us as kids got. So I think that it worked.
Yeah.
What did y'all start at?
No, I was just gonna say, like, I think that was that piece though. Like, I know that like we want to say about the sexual assault aspect of it, but that was a reality though, bro. Like, I had even girls like smack my ass before, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? You know what I mean? That's weird. That's supposed to be in my role. Like, you mean it's confusing for all of us at this point in time. But
I believe that's called sexual harassment, not sexual assault.
Yeah,
sexual assault be grabbing a titty.
Yeah, but it was a thing that I think that it needed to stay in the film. Even if it would have been replayed today, it should have stayed in the film, because at the same token, I think even fucking Moonlight did a good job at this, where they showed like dudes, they were experimenting on each other at that time. And I've heard fucking stories of dudes fucking experimenting with each other because of the fact that they were trying to understand like what their fucking body was. And that was just a kid thing. You know what I mean? And so I like the fact that like they were in middle school at the time, which by the way, you did not believe those dudes were in middle school. That would be my only problem. None of them were fucking in 8th grade. 8th grade doing this shit.
They were all 19 and 20.
Yeah, that. Wow, she is a full decade older than young Alicia and young Mike are 10 years apart.
Yeah,
she was 29 and he was 19. Yeah. So when you think about it, there was nothing. It's a mind fuck because he's younger than her, IRL. But then in the movie, they're both kids, and then he grabs her ass. So that's that. Yeah. Moving on.
You mean
what's weird is how this 29-year-old looked regular along with all these other actual middle school extras.
Yeah. She did.
They had to do some trickery because I saw her on the episode of Moesha. Like that came out before this movie. And I'm like, wait, why is she playing a middle? Like she shouldn't be able to seamlessly integrate in with those middle schools. That's worrying. Jesus Christ.
Well, also on top of that, wait, can we say kudos to Sean Nelson for carrying like the younger crew though, man? That kid he did such an amazing job, man, because Sean Nelson did Fresh. That's how I remember him. And he's always been a powerhouse actor, even though like, you mean, it hasn't been reflected in modern day, but like that is amazing that he did that good job, that he kind of just flowed into that role. Whereas you could definitely tell that like the people who play young Roland and Slim, they really kind of just had to navigate that as their first acting gig almost.
Yeah, Sean Nelson, he basically like he's kind of almost slowed down or stopped. Like he was in movies fairly regularly throughout like the 90s and then through the 2000s. Then he kind of just stopped until like 2015, where he started guest appearing on some different TV shows. So
Mhm.
yeah, he probably made his money and was just like, let me dip out while I'm still sane. So
I agree.
shout out to him. Let's go on to the next point of the movie. We talked about the adults a little bit. Let's kind of stick to the eras. Let's go to first the 1980s. Y'all lived there for a little bit. What did y'all think of like the 80s setting and like some of the different, like the mood and the atmosphere of the 1980s scene? We'll go first. We'll start off with you, JT.
I thought it was pretty cool how when they were eating the pizza that they had
Hell
the
yeah.
Cruising USA game over there in the Pizza Hut. And then when they went back and they talked about how they had the same adventures and stuff that they did there, they switched back to the old school of video games.
Yeah.
So I thought it was pretty cool how that, they were just talking about how they grew up, but still, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And I thought that really drove home the best because the scene was one right after another. And I thought that was the best thing that really mirrored the differences in the ages and the similarities in them too.
Yeah, that.
Such a subtle touch.
Yeah, I agree, man. It just I love the transition between the 80s. I'm gonna say this, man. The soundtrack made it feel like the 80s.
Yes. The music was so good.
The music, even the background music, when they had like layers of like the background music, it just felt good. And one song, I know that it's in a different layer. Obviously, this takes place in the wedding. Is the fact of like that higher song, right? I just want to keep on lifting me up now. I can see people in the fucking 80s at their high school dancing to that song. Like that, they stay true to the culture and what will be the music and the soundtrack of your life when you're in high school. That's usually like the thing that they used to say is the fact that the music that you listen to between the time that you're in high school and college is your soundtrack to your life. And I could thoroughly believe that song is this couple's love song. I can see how it translates it over to adulthood significantly much more. And as far as the 80s, man, everything from the shoes all the way to the way they dress, man, shit, it made me feel like I was in the 80s version of what LA was, or Inglewood, California was.
Yeah, I really do agree with you. Like going back, and even though I didn't grow up in LA, it does do a good job of like hitting you with the nostalgia. It really does. Everything from like not just, like the music, especially like you said, the music really does highlight it. From like the R&B stuff to Stacy and his boy Boo rolling, and they're listening to rap, and they're talking about weed like an album that's just about weed. Like it does such a fun job of that, and I really do. It's a strength of the movie. There aren't really
about that song, Jamil, is they were playing a Too Short song that came out in 1987, and the movie was based in 1986.
Yeah,
so little
Stacy
trickery
can
there.
time travel.
Well, also on top of that, man, I'm gonna sound wild when I say this though. Is the fact that like, I mean, here's the weirdest thing. When I was in New Orleans, they had songs that was already out for a while down there, and then all of a sudden, for some reason, Yo Radio was like, "Oh, this is top 40 hits." That song is like 3 years old. What the fuck?
Yep.
Yeah, that's how music used to work. That's honestly how music, in a way, still works. Like there'll be stuff that comes out in like December of 2000, in December of a year, and it doesn't get hot until the spring. So the brother in this movie, I assume Candy means Stacy, played by one DeAndre Bonds. Now, what did y'all think of
acting? The light skin
What did
Bokeem
y'all
of
think of
acting.
Stacy?
I
He's
thought
the what?
Stacy was the most interesting part of the movie, and I had hoped to see more of Stacy after the prom and everything like that, and we didn't really get to see much more of Stacy apart from him being a minor inconvenience. It was a little bit of a shame, and you don't even know what happened to him at the end of the movie. You know what I'm saying? Like he was a gangbang, he was a blood. So like, did he get caught up in that? We don't know. We never really got that close.
I think that they didn't want to go the route of like Boys in the Hood or Minister Society. You know what I mean?
If it is blood in and blood out, even though you were blood. That's you. There's only
they
one way you leave the game.
Us, and I agree with you. I'm with you, JT. History. What do you think of State?
Oh no, man. But I say he's the Bokeem Woodbine of light-skinned Bokeem Woodbine of acting during this time, because this dude was in almost a lot of movies and we just never understood who the fuck this guy is. He was just there. So many
he has been basically in the same mode as a character, as an actor, for damn near everything that he's in, but he's so good at playing that role. So it's just like, I mean, yeah, this is it's typecast and he's playing the same role and everything as as South Central heavy gangbanger.
Robbing that gas station was the funniest scene. Like, first off, he's sitting over here with this goddamn hand cannon, and let me tell you, when you pull the trigger back on that mug, it is a hair trigger. It is like 1-2 pounds of pressure, and that mug is going off. He would have been shot that clerk. I'm just saying. He was waving that mug all over the place. Y'all want something? But that was the best part when he was like, "Y'all want something?"
Yeah, you want something?
He holding the mug up.
Oh,
God. Don't say my name.
Yeah, he took that.
Don't say my name.
He took that shit like a champion. He talked about how he dropped his kid. You beat up this fucking middle schooler.
He took it like a champ.
Middle school.
I tell you what, man, I thought Stacey was trying to recruit Mike. I was like, oh, okay, he gonna get a little protection, right? Nope. No.
Don't replace all his C's with B's. Andre Bonds. He is. If you have seen Snowfall, he's Scully on Snowfall, and again, the exact same character. He is the blood in that show too.
In Dope by the same director,
same dude. Like he's
the same character.
Well,
I don't blame him.
That you don't get him like that is in this movie called Lockdown, which also has your boy what's his name? Who plays Slim? What's his name? Richard T. Jones. He was in there. Dre was not really the troublemaker. He just was coincidentally in a car at a bad time. He was not. He
was from South Central, huh?
Yeah, he was. Well, yeah, something like that. But he wasn't a. He wasn't a.
Three Strikes. He was in Three Strikes. Same fucking character. We're saying that. Like, I believe he is probably really affiliated. So I don't want to talk too much shit about him because he's a little too good at he's a little too good in that role. But yeah, Stacey is a fun side character, and I think he does add to the movie. And it is a shame that we don't at least get a, hey, how's Stacey doing? Oh, cool. He running a stove. He's like living his life. But I do think the movie and the director himself, it was kind of showing like when we were in present time, black upper or black middle class. Like these are dudes who all came from Wood, and they all like Mike is in a single family home. We don't know Slim's situation. I think Aunt Rachel from Family Matters, I think that was supposed to be his mom. Yeah, like basically all in the same boat. And it's like you see these guys, grow up, be successful. It'd be, a little bit of a downer if we just hear Stacey got shot after I graduated high school or something like that. So it would have been nice if we got a little here's what Stacey's up to, or here's what Stacey did. Even if it's just Stacey, Stacey still on the block. That'd have been something in my opinion. Yeah.
I have
shout out to. Oh, go right ahead.
I have a theory. I think Stacey owns the pizza shop. I think that he owns the pizza shop
because that's the only other business besides the dry cleaners.
In the store.
I think that he does.
3 businesses. We see
because we saw the people, all 3 of them behind the counter at the convenience store.
Exactly.
We saw the 2 people behind the counter at the dry cleaners. We didn't see nobody at the pizza shop.
We didn't see nobody
That's
at
a
the
very good
Where
point.
else could he possibly work?
work. Yeah,
Gang
I think,
Bangers
he's,
Pizza.
I think he's the older. And think about everything, how blooded that whole place was. That bitch was all red everywhere. So Stacy is like, man, you want some pizza, blood?
I man, you want some
You want
pizza?
some You want some Boca? You want some Boca Bola? You want what's going on?
Pepsi
blood?
or Diet Pepsi?
Pepsi and Diet Pepsi.
That was
We
on
don't
the
even
cup.
serve no Coke here.
we don't sell no Coke.
No, we done with that work.
Yeah, dog. I think that
We don't
Stacy
fuck around and get shot. Let's move forward. Anyway,
We don't go to the wood. Why would
we going to
anyway, yeah, the bet itself. So not to tell on yourself too much, but growing up, JT history, y'all got any fun stories of your pursuit of, as Alicia says in here, the booty? Y'all got any fun stories from y'all youth pursuing the opposite sex?
He's sitting right
Nope.
next to his wife, dog. I'm about to say, dog, we gonna,
I ain't got no stories, dog.
we gonna incriminate ourselves at all, homie.
Hell no.
Do you have a story, Jamel?
Yeah.
I do probably shouldn't
You know
say
what?
it though.
I'm gonna tell you
All
about.
right, we'll talk about that off wax.
Yeah, we'll do that off cam.
Y'all gotta pay for the. Y'all gotta pay. Y'all gotta become Patreon subscribers, supporters.
Yeah,
Get that.
you want if you want stuff
Our
that can
dirt's gonna be behind a
possibly,
paywall, y'all.
if you want stuff that could possibly incriminate us with their wives or just me in general, Patreon. Become become a $20 backer or above, and we'll tell some stories on there. But anyway,
wait. I gotta ask a question. That brings up a quick question real fast. I'm gonna ask you a question, JT, dog. My wife is not scared to pimp me out for a certain amount of money. I'm gonna ask you.
wait,
With your wife. With your wife. Pimp you out
Dog,
for a certain amount of money.
I've floated these dollar amounts by her.
Mr. JT.
I've floated these dollar amounts by her, and I must say, my wife does not know the going rate for no favors. Neither do I, so I
Okay.
could not help her.
So-
All I knew is what she was saying didn't make no sense.
How
Because
much
there was
would
one
you-
time
Okay,
she
so
came
wait,
home on
wait.
lunch break, and she got a little nookie. You know what I'm saying? She went home, bragged to her little girls about it, and they was like, "Ooh, I wish I could do that on break." And I was like, "How much they got?" You know what I'm saying? And she was like, I was like, "How much would you charge?" She was like, "I don't know, like $5,000." And I was like, "Girl, baby, no, that's not how it works. $50 a pop and bring them hoes through. You know, I got to put in this work to make this
So-
money."
I mean, since we're on this train of thought, before we get back into the wood, or we never left the wood, the subject we're talking about, in an indecent proposal type situation, what's the number? What's the number that you would have if
It's always more than you got. That's
Yeah.
the correct answer. It's always
more
more
than
than
your
you
net worth. Let's go with more than
Like,
your
all right, dude starts off and says, like, some dude comes to you and your missus, and they're just like, all right, one weekend, let's start the bidding at $1 million. Now, are you gonna try to deal or no deal? This is one to be like, nah, go up a little bit higher, or you good at that level?
My man Candy said that JT is a top bitch. He gets $100 per person. Wait, that's so you got a standing, dog. The
Damn.
fuck?
He knows. He knows he's top bitch. Or would bottom bitch be better? I think bottom bitch is what you want if you're getting pimped out.
Yeah,
I mean, I ain't on the bottom of nothing, but, I know the bottom bitch theory, and that sounds like me. So I'm conflicted.
All right, well,
We should. This got me wanting to watch that South Park episode where Butters becomes a pimp. Butters bottom bitch, and it might be the funniest shit that they've done on South Park, because it's just this little innocent sounding white boy in class, just like, "Hey, bitch, you want to make some money?" Funniest shit.
You know, talk
Dog.
about Butters over there.
I don't know about that comment.
So anyway, let's move forward. Let's get to let's talk about the actual
way to end Black History Month, Jamel. Derail the whole place
with pimps and hoes.
Pimps and hoes.
God dang it.
Yeah, to put us in a stereotype,
I mean,
Jamel.
Yeah,
exploitation of
the higher thought has given us the lowest common denominator.
True. Anyway, let's keep going. The wedding itself. So, was I alone in thinking I kind of want to choke Taye Diggs and Roland because we find out that the Lisa he's getting married to is Lisa Ray McCoy, and for a moment I'm just like, I want to smack the shit out of his head because it's like, bro, you won. Like, why are you? I don't want to spend the rest of my life with Lisa Ray McCoy.
Hold on, Jamel. Yeah, you got to explain to these young bucks who Lisa Ray actually is. Go break it down for them.
Before you go
Players Club.
Before you go
Players
too
Club.
far,
young boys, watch Players Club. You'll thank me later.
No.
Stop it once they start talking about Junior's bachelor party.
We can't give it that much.
Lisa Ray McCoy.
Fox Soul. Remember, we're gonna give that same energy that we gave to Vivica Fox.
Hey, Vivica has slipped, but Lisa Ray is still the champ.
Hey man,
she is also a former first lady of Turks and Caicos, so let's show some respect to her on that level as well.
Yes,
but yeah, Lisa Ray.
Hey. If
Lemon's older than her.
Listen to our podcast. Go back and listen to our podcast a few months back when we talked about Fox Soul.
Wow.
Oh my God, bro.
God.
Oh my God.
It's weird learning. It's weird going through and learning these ages because she's a year younger than Don Lemon. Like that's, but again, she looks exquisite.
How did you feel she did?
What did y'all think of the wedding itself? Of like the actual wedding, and then seeing who grown up Alicia was, and seeing who Roland's brat was. What did y'all think of the wedding?
Well, first off, I thought since Alicia was 29, they should just have her ass right back. But nah, instead we got 18 seconds of Sanaa Lathan, and that was okay too.
That was an easy paycheck for her. She was also, her and Omar Epps were also dating at the time, and this was also around the time that Love and Basketball came out. So they had a lot of practice being an in love couple. But also, quiet as kept, Love and Basketball, the relationship between Q and Monica, might be one of the most trash that we've ever seen in Black cinema. That's history. What do you think of the wedding scene to close things out on the movie? We're not done. We've got a few more points.
Well, I'm going to talk about I will definitely answer your question. Can we talk about how close that circle is? You got Taye Diggs, who did obviously did Stella Got a Groove
Brown
Back,
Sugar.
right? They did this movie with Brown Sugar with Sanaa Lathan, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then he was married to Sanaa Lathan again in Best Man. Omar Epps was with Sanaa Lathan in
IRL.
Yeah, that's true too. Omar Epps was married to Sanaa Lathan and dating Sanaa Lathan in Love and Basketball, and also this. Then you had obviously the relationship between Richard T. Jones doing another film. Like these people were constantly like doing work with each other. I know that
why they all know each other.
Exactly.
Like
I know that like they did films with each other, but like a lot of times when we talk about like the people who do films all over and over again with each other, we talk about like the Vince Vaughn and like John Favreau's and the actual like Ben Stillers of the world, also like Adam Sandler's and Chris Rock and so on and so forth. But can we talk about this group? Like this group was really like making films with each other, and like you knew that this was going to be like really good work in Black cinema at this time. I will say this is
that's also the thing. And like for mainstream movies, it's kind of like what JT was saying. Well, one of you niggas can come through for a little bit. Like Omar Epps, he had his run. Like Omar Epps had a run where he was like so close to like pushing through and being like a mainstream like actor, but then it's just something blocked him. Like Denzel, once he got that opportunity with Glory in Philadelphia, broke through. Idris Elba broke through. Omar Epps, he came close. Like Omar was close to like really breaking through. Like white people know him from House, but he's not quite at that.
That's my problem though. Here's my thing though. We know him from House, but technically he was also in ER, which was a major primetime TV show.
And didn't nobody care about that?
Nobody thinks of him when they think of ER.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So I want to say that technically he did do it. He fucking did it. It's just the fact that
it didn't lack. Tay Diggs is also someone. Wow, Tay Diggs. He also he was around there doing the same rotation, Best Man and all of that. Tay Diggs is probably more known to a lot of people as somebody's ex-husband, Adina Menzel. Yeah, the singing voice of Elsa is his ex-wife, and so there are people who probably know him more as her ex-man than they actually do for the lot of stuff that he's done. It's crazy the sheer amount of crossovers that this group of actors have. But history, what'd you think of The Wedding to close out what's the name that closed out the movie?
I would say this, man. The Wedding felt mid, but it felt realistic compared to what most times you get this Hollywood eyes version of weddings. My best example is obviously this is 20 years after the fact. Crazy Rich Asians. Y'all remember Crazy Rich Asians? Have y'all ever seen that before?
Yeah.
The Wedding Crazy Rich Asians is wild, right? And you get a lot of these weddings that are kind of like highly explosive. So I would say The Wedding itself is realistic and it's mid for that family style. I love the fact that that's how real this movie tried to stay true and realistic and practical straight through and through throughout the whole process. But I think the song made The Wedding fucking more than what it is. That song higher fucking made that wedding. Like when you remove
music
that
does it, dog.
The
music lifts you up.
The music
and that music on that movie was hitting
every inch, every single minute. You would not know that this movie is almost 2 hours long.
The music is absolutely essential to any good movie. I remember watching Get Out in the theater, and I was so impressed with the music and how it perfectly mirrored what was going on the screen. The music was telling the story. And then I rewatched Get Out with somebody with a jacked up surround sound system, and that mess did not hit right because they didn't have their stuff going. And so you didn't get to the whispers over here. It wasn't all right. And ever since I watched Get Out with that crappy sound system, I have been aware of the differences in, like the music and stuff. And I've been kind of, trying to pay a little bit more attention to it because I used to be a music addict. I hear music, I'm like, oh, I can't hear nothing else. I mean, what's that song? But this music right here was absolutely, it hit you in the nostalgic muscle, and everything about the music was helping you tell the story. It made you believe the times that you were in. It made you believe the locations that you were in. And that is probably the highest praise that you can give to a movie, is that the audio helped the movie get better. So my hat's off to whoever wrote this soundtrack, whoever directed this music, whoever put that stuff together. Y'all knocked it out the park.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was
also, we got to give a shout out real quick to Tamala Jones, God bless, as Tanya Rowland's ex-girlfriend. God bless. You see why she was in a lot of stuff. God bless. But now let's move into some more finer details as we head towards the end. So, history. Give me your top 3 moments in the movie.
My top 3 moments in the movie.
JT, start thinking because I'm coming at you next with the same question.
I got my 3.
Cool.
One of mine is the Mac and hanging.
Change that screen quick so
oh no. The Mac and hanging. I would say that was definitely the biggest scene is the Mac and hanging. And so that scene covered so much of the corniness of fucking childhood. I thoroughly love that. You thought that you were the shit as a kid, and didn't know shit as a kid. So I love the fact that like they had that scene because it felt like something to me. It felt like something during that time when I was a kid and I was watching this. And I was like, yeah, I want to be like Slim and Roll and Mike during that time. But now when I grew up, I'm looking back at my time. I was a fucking bum when I was in school. You know what I mean? So it hits different. You know, I think that that's what I love about this movie is the fact that during that time, it felt good as a kid, and that movie means something totally different as an adult. And I love the fact that we went through the different time periods. The second part that I love is I love the spinning the pizza situation because I remember as a kid too, we used to go, "That's my girl, that's my girl, that's my girl, that's my girl." And that was a callback to what it was.
And that's your girl, and you got an ugly girl, right? Yep.
Yeah.
That was the best. Yeah.
She too black. You know what I mean? Too light skinned. Like you know what I mean? Oh man, the Vanity Apollone kind of thing, and I love that. That's what we first get introduced to like Slim and Roland. Now my next scene and my last scene, and I know you're gonna laugh at me when I say this, is when my man's is dancing with the fucking bunny. I don't care what you say, dog.
We've all been there.
We've been there.
Yeah.
That's what I'm about to say. We've been there, dog.
We've all been there.
We've been
You got to practice your moves to make sure you can't be doing no new stuff when you're trying to impress people. You got to do some used stuff. You got to test it. when he dang near hurt himself trying to dance right before that.
Yeah. I thought that shit was.
And of course, his mom come in immediately thinking, "What kind of furry shit is going on in my house?"
Yeah.
Weird shit you up to, son.
It could have been easy for me to pick any other scene in this movie. It's very, but those are my three that I can think of, and I'm like, you know what? As a kid, I fucking feel that. And I think that that's what I liked about this movie. I think as a kid, I probably would have addressed and been like, okay, cool. I can't wait to get to that adulthood. But as an adult man, thinking about my childhood, I think that that's the shit I think about because it makes me remember my childhood. And I'm like, damn, I did some weird ass shit when I was growing up. I'm pretty sure I had friends that just did this weird ass shit when they grown up. So that was my three, man.
All right, JT, what about you? What are your standouts?
So Stacy was the highlight of the movie for me. So I really liked the robbery scene and the subsequent police scene, you know. So since I already done talked about the robbery, we'll just say the police scene when they get pulled over and actually just being in the car and getting pulled over and the way that he ripped that bandana off and stuff. And they really talked about, you know, this dude that they were scared of minutes
crying
before.
Like a bitch.
It was his buddy though, and when he told his buddy to get in the back seat, and then he
told
him to stay in the back seat after he dropped the kids off. Oh, that was it. That was it right there. So that definitely stole the show. But then I thought it was really cool how Stacy pulled Mike aside and told him, "Look, man, my little sister loves that song by Luther Vandross. If This World Were Mine. So when you hear that song playing, go over there." And why did it take Mike till like midway through the song? As soon as he heard that mess, he should have been off like a shot. And the thing that I didn't get is if his ass is standing on the wall the whole time, he know where Alicia gonna be because he done been watching her. He been watching his boys. You know where they at. He been watching her. She been standing over there. And when she free, he would have been the first mug in line. So anyway, that's just, you know, like this. You got the keys to the kingdom, bro. You ain't gonna sit there and waste that unless you think Stacy was trying to play you, which he wasn't because he was a real G. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, I really like the dance scene, and I like that scene in the car. And finally, I really like when Tay Diggs threw up on everybody because he did it in the most inconvenient way possible. Like, how do you hit all three dudes in the car? You hit all of the brothers in the vehicle, dog. You did not tactically puke. He didn't try to hit the window. He hit the other window, literally hit the window with his projectile vomit.
And
went down and run around doing all kinds of shenanigans. And what time you say y'all can go in the back and use the hose?
Oh
Wing
my
dogs.
God.
You tell. She was hilarious. Yeah, the thing with Roland throwing up, with Tay Diggs throwing up, is that he threw up at the window, and with the it's so if any of that throw up got into them creases where the window sits, oh, that scent
It's
is
going
there
in
for
the
life.
door. It's going
You
in
got
the
to get a new
door.
car. You got to get a whole new car. So for me, if I would have had 3 standout scenes, well, not really the same. It's just a line that stood out to me. So this is separate. It is when Mike and Stacy are fighting, and Mike says, "What, you think my sister a hoe?" He's just like, "Nah, I think she's purdy." Like there's just something. There's just something about I think she purdy that just sticks with me. So that's probably my favorite line delivery of the movie. But for scenes, I think not the sex itself, but Mike and Alicia when they're losing their virginity, and then it's the voiceover where Mike is just like, where he decides he's not going to tell Roland and Slim that he and Alicia hooked up, showing that it was more like he had some sense, and for him it was more important.
It was
like yeah, I'm gonna let him know.
But he also should have won the bet and gone to use the money to buy his ass a new suit.
He technically won the belt, but I think for him it was just like, all right,
it was not a belt.
It's not with her. I genuinely love her, so I like that. I like that delivery. The whole that whole stuff saying was funny. Like Stacy's girlfriend catching him being like, "Who's the hoe you was with? You the only hoe I've been with." And then
why are you calling me a hoe?
Fucks up Stacy's whole night. His whole night is ruined.
And then he got to pull a penguin to go chase her down.
That's the last time that we see him in the movie too, which is fucked up. But a lot of the interactions with Tay Diggs, Richard T. Jones, and Omar Epps were great. For me, it's when they're in the store, in the convenience store, like reminiscing, because it was one of those moments that you felt like genuine. Oh, these are boys for life. Like this is just something that they probably always talk about, and now they reminisce. Like, dog, you remember that one time we did thing, then the stove got robbed, and Tay Diggs keep getting the fucking grits, and then just stop like, nigga, ain't nobody making you breakfast. So that'd be another one. That'd be number 2, and then number 3 for like, what'd you say, JT?
Kitty tax.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Oh, hey, what's that? What's happening, Nacho? If I were to go for a third scene that I really enjoyed in the movie, it's at the end when they're talking with Lisa to kind of, like, hey, like, let's get the wedding going. And Slim gets in there with some good lines, like, dog, like, hurry up, like, girl, you don't want to get married, and like that stuff. It tickled me because again, that stuff felt genuine, and I think that's one of the biggest things of this movie is that it felt genuine. So next question that I have for you guys, aside Stacy, because I think we can all more or less agree Stacy was probably the best side character in the movie, best supporting actor. Who would you say is the MVP of this movie? We'll start with you, JT.
Alicia. Because she was the one that actually made things happen.
I like that. History, what about you? Who's your MVP?
I felt like a lot of the heavyweight was carried by Sean Nelson. I think that Omar Epps and the rest of the older crew got a lot of the coverage, but I feel like that not only the narration was covered pretty much by him, but also I will say this. That is really good that they actually matched Omar Epps' voice to Sean Nelson's voice. They felt like they were the same person talking at the same time at points of time. I'm going to say that Sean Nelson definitely did the most of the heavy lifting when it came to this actual film. And kind of going back into what Jamel said, the writers did a good job by writing because they showed growth. And he showed that growth right after he lost the virginity, because he could have easily, just like how you said, bought a suit with it. But for the idea that, he grabbed her butt for a bet, he got her number, and they were dating for a little bit while they was in middle school. When they got in high school, they became friends. And right after they lost their virginity, the rest of that shit didn't matter. So it showed that actual true growth that like, man, I'm gonna put that childish shit away. Because that was a time, sex is usually a sign that you becoming a man, right? At that point in time. And that showed the actual like man putting away childish shit. And it showed how pivotal that type of stuff was. So I would say Sean Nelson's character did a really good job by doing that. I'm sorry, Mike. The young Mike did a really good job by doing that.
All right, if I had to say one, she wouldn't be MVP. She'd definitely be like a 6 man of the year or something like that.
Oh God, I know you.
Tanya. He was good. Again, you know, God bless. But I also think she was important because she was a reminder of where Roland was and where he was going, where he wanted to be. She represented his childhood. She represented who he used to be, the player, the dude who probably messed around on this girl when they was in high school, did her dirty. And him going back to her, that it feels like this is something that's happened a lot before. But then you see her growth. She kind of sets him straight, slaps him, hey, that's for the brag. And it's like, why are you having such a hard time growing up? And so I really enjoyed it.
Hold up.
That was a deep gasp.
Dog, wait, hold up. Did y'all know that they got a Wood reboot coming out?
Well, Mr. History,
I'm sorry,
part of the stuff that I talked about at the end before we get to the movie ratings. I was gonna bring that up.
Well, no, well,
way to jump ahead, pal.
Wait, no, don't say nothing because this man been sitting there studying other people like he was learning about they fucking.
I'm on the movie. I'm on the movie figuring this out. I was gonna get to that.
When we was doing, I said what I said. You were researching other fucking people. You were going to the algorithm. So it's
with regards to
he came down a little bit. Okay, let him have this.
Let me have my one.
No. Anyway, with regards to the movie itself, Wood was produced on a budget of $6 million, made 25 at the box office, was a modest success.
It made like 8 million opening weekend, though. So they made their money right back immediately.
Made it right back. Fairly good reviews. Rotten Tomatoes, I really don't put much investment in, but there are people who love the tomato meter. Currently holds a 61. Roger Ebert called it pretty lighthearted and a good cinematic portrayal of the Black middle class, which, to his point, which is something that we don't often see. We usually see Black people were poor. Occasionally, we're at the top, but we don't really see Black people who are solid. Like that doesn't happen too often. And again, it's usually,
it does in the Wood, though.
It happened. Like this was also, and I do want to give this movie credit. This and Love and Basketball, I want to give them a lot of credit because they were movies about Black people, but we weren't struggling. Like the families in Love and Basketball, one was an ex-NBA player who had actually done well. The other, Monica's family, her dad was like a successful banker. So it was Black middle class being shown and highlighted. And I think that's always important to see, like, hey, it ain't slave and in the ghetto, and maybe we might get to the east side. But anyway, as history jumped the gun on, this soundtrack was actually certified gold. So the music definitely lived up to the hype. And there is a TV series that's currently in the works. In 2021,
I'm not needy. You're not getting to me.
In 2021, Showtime gave ordered a pilot adaptation of the series. Rick Famuyiwa will direct the pilot, and he's got someone by the name of Justin Hillen writing the script. There haven't been many updates on the announcement since 2021, but that was just 2 years ago. So there's always time. It can still be in the oven. So we've got the MVP out the way. We've gotten some facts about the background of the movie. Now it's time to rate it. History, you're the one who selected this movie for us this week. What is your rating of 1999's The Wood?
So even though this is like, I have like 3 favorite movies. This is one of those 3. I'm still gonna give this an edger. And the reason being is because of the fact that like I felt like for a lot of the time when the acting felt like it was lackluster, the soundtrack carried it. And I wish that one of the things that I did start to think when I was actually trying to take notes for this one, the part that did bother me is exactly what JT started it off with. Is the fact that we went from fourth wall breaking until where these characters kind of forgot about the people inside of it. Now, granted, artistically, it made sense because now you have this big stressful situation that happened, but then now these characters are forgetting that people kind of exist watching their story. But then you kind of lose point of that because of the fact that when they start to lose their virginity, the narration begins again. The conversation started to happen with the people in the on camera. So which one are we doing? Are we fourth wall breaking, or are we kind of going to just be individual characters who just don't ignore the other people are watching your screen at the same time? So I think that was a plague of the early 90s. I feel like that was a plague of the mid 2000s, early 2000s, is the fact that we had these narration films and the character forgot to narrate what's going on in the film. So that was one of my biggest things. My next thing that I absolutely did not like, I would love to have seen more of the moms. They had some important moms in those characters. I would have loved to see some more of the actual family reaction. I felt like that was a waste of like Lisa Ray, because I don't know how he met Lisa Ray if Tamala Jones was supposed to be his first love. I don't understand that part. I don't understand, kind of like they did have some scenes where it just doesn't make sense. Why did they divert so quickly? You kind of had a little brief glimpse of like, okay, cool. Slim big love playing basketball. That's why he loves. So why is he your best man? What you didn't have no friends in between that time? Roland and Mike, what happened to your relationship? So they had some parts that just kind of felt like they were missing pieces. And I think that that's the only reason why it's a high edger for me, sometimes even a winner. Kid me, winner. Edger as an adult, if I'm looking at this as a non-biased aspect of it. So yeah.
JT, what say you?
I'm going to give this movie an edger, but not for the reason you think. I'm giving it an edger because we spend the whole movie waiting for something to happen.
Ooh, good point.
We sitting up over here like, oh, Stacy's a gangbanger, all right? He's a blood. Does that mean he's going to try to recruit? Nope. He ain't going to try to recruit nobody. So does that mean there's going to be some problems with the Crips? Nope. Nope. Nothing. None of that. Nope. Doesn't mean nothing. Oh, okay. So Ro and Tanya have some history. Does that mean we're going to get to see them as young kids? Nope. Not at all. Oh, snap. Alicia's back. Does that mean we're going to get some closure with what's happening? Nope. We just wondering how cold it is in New York. Nope. Nothing. So nothing, like, ultimately nothing really happened in this movie. All that happened was the thing that was supposed to happen from the first scene, which is Roland getting married. And we didn't even get to see what he was drunk off of. You know what I'm saying? Like, what, you been drinking some Ripple? He could have been like, nah, man, E&J. Oh, come on, man. You know you can't be drinking that cheap stuff. And then they took him to the store and didn't even get the man a Gatorade for real. Clearly they don't know how to deal with drunk folk. But I really wanted, like, I really just want the Wood extended cut. You know what I'm saying? And it felt like we talked a little bit before the show, but it really felt like they were missing a part of the story in between the parts of the stories that we got. And so I really would have liked to see that. So I'm actually pretty excited about this series coming out, because I think we're finally going to be able to get to see some of that. But honestly, I think it would have been better if they had just kind of, oh, let's take it way back. You know what I'm saying? And then they just had a nice, big, long portion and they didn't do so much back and forth. Because it could have been like, you know, just them talking and them reminding each other about all the stuff they've been through, why they got to get people out of stuff. And all on top of that, the movie seemed to have a whole bunch of other people nearby that did not freaking matter. You know what I'm saying? Like the bride, Lisa, she didn't matter until the last like 20 minutes of the movie. And it would have been kind of nice to see her, you know, freaking out or whatever. The moms, like you said, we see a mom in the first scene and she ain't having none of it. And then we see a bunch of bridesmaids and groomsmen, but we don't never hear a lick of nobody, not one of these groomsmen who ain't got a best man or a bridegroom title. So it would have been one thing if, like, you know, one of the dudes ran up in there and be like, and he was holding the camera. Who you talking to? Chucky over here holding the camera. Man, bump Chucky, man. We got to go get Ro. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like it would have made some sense because Mike was over here trying to look good for the camera and start monologuing and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? Little plays like that could have tied the movie together and made it a 10 out of 10 instant classic, and it was never going to go nowhere. But it really just seems like there was a few more parts of the story. We got 2/3 of a really quality movie. And if we get that last one, man. So I'm pretty excited for this, the Wood reboot. But it's going to be a low edger.
Yeah, the thing is that go right ahead, history.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, man, I feel like though with modern film and TV, I think that's gonna lose it in a lot of ways because again, like we looked at it just how you just like look how quick and easy it was for Jamel to say, "Oh man, he grabbed that booty. That's a mild sexual assault." Like, would that scene be replicated in today's day? And that the answer is probably no, because of the fact that we're going to try to fit a specific category that has never really existed. I do not expect to watch a 70s film and not see people smoking. That's what people were doing. 70s and 60s time, smoking. If you don't have an early 90s film and you talk about like hoods and gangsters drinking and none of them drinking Mad Dog 2020, something is wrong. So, you mean if I'm seeing a bunch of people drinking like Gatorade and not 10K, something is wrong. So those things could call back to, and I don't think that
you're talking about historical authenticity.
Yes.
And so when you see some stuff, especially if you know about it, it's hard to believe that is the case when Hollywood is doing stuff like not portraying smoking as good anymore.
Yes.
They're making artistic choices to try to clean up Hollywood at the same time they're diverting themselves away from history.
Yes.
And this is in my opinion, this is intellectual dishonesty. Because if you was there, you know what it was like. If you had been to a bar before whenever they changed the law back in 2010 or whatever it was, getting choked out when you go to the bar just because you're trying to get a drink. But the broad's chain smoking next to you. You know these smells, and they remind you of something. When you hear these songs, you're like, I remember the cigarettes and the beer, and I was a never smoker. You know what I'm saying? So it bothers me that they don't have these little bits of historical authenticity because it's true. And if Hollywood insults their patrons by thinking that we're too fragile to handle how shit really was, we will continue to get meager films.
Yeah.
It reminds me of the Dumbo remake from Disney. And there is a message towards the end of the movie about a circus ending animal cruelty, which, hey, beautiful. But this was in like the movie is still set in like the 1930s, 1940s. Animal abuse was there. Like animals were like, it was happening. Like it was fucked up. So
they was electrocuting the animals on Swiss Family Robinson for the movie. They electrocuted these animals. Some of them died.
They were horrified. They were horrible to these animals, but they had to slip in a movie of, hey, a circus in the 1930s gave enough of a shit about these animals. No, they did not care. Circuses, that's kind of, maybe we should probably end circuses. It's some animal cruelty, but again, topic for another day. For me, I am right along with you guys. This movie is an edger. And I remember towards the beginning of the year, I asked, could this series or would this work better as like a TV series? I actually think this has potential if it gets made, because again, no news since 2021. It's kind of filling out some of those gaps in the story. Like if it keeps basically the same structure of the inciting incident of their friendship, and the thing with Alicia is him grabbing her butt. If they keep that and then kind of like, let's spend the year after that incident, and then with the dance and everything, and kind of just get more of a fleshed out story of their background and everything else, I think it could work. But anyway, I think the movie's an edger. I think the comedy works. I think the thing that carries this movie is the chemistry between the young lead male trio and the older male trio.
Let me ask y'all a question. Jamel, let me ask you a question since you're talking. Why do you think Alicia started getting sweet on Mike?
Alicia, as the year, because it was 2 months after, and then that's when this happened. I imagine, just my feeling, Alicia probably started to see more of who Mike actually was, and then probably pieced together like, oh, it wasn't really him who initiated, it was the two assholes that were with him. And so I imagine what they could probably do is show us, one, she probably felt a little sorry for him because like, damn, I ain't need Stacy to beat his ass that bad. Like maybe, punch him, bloody him up just like once, but don't beat him up too bad. But for me, I think it's just she got to know Mike, and Mike probably behaved more or less like an actual, decent dude towards her as they got older. But could be wrong. Could go another direction. That's what I'm thinking.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Again, I think the movie worked. I think the movie it works overall. I do really like JT's idea of switching the perspective. Like first it's Mike breaking the fourth wall, then it goes to Slim, then we go to Roland for a little bit, and Tanya, and then I think expanding a little bit more on them as an adults at the wedding with Alicia. I think that would have worked. That could have worked. But yeah, this movie, it's an edger, and I think it deserves its status as a pretty loved coming of age story for Black people. But that is going to do it for the
wrong person. Don't you give credit for that's you doing that shit again? You doing that shit? You give her credit and take away my parts, man. I said that shit. I
am wrapping up the section and then handing it back to you. I'm sorry. Is this the first time that we've done this show?
Let's go, y'all. I got an early morning. Let's skip to it. Let's skip to it.
I'm just saying. I want my flowers. I had a good idea.
Come on, history.
Go ahead.
Do your thing, history. Let's go.
Oh, okay, gotcha, man. With that, man. This was a pretty amazing episode. Thanks a lot for being a part of this, and it is officially Edger. One fact that we're gonna actually throw out, and then I'm gonna pass this on to you, JT, is DeAndre Bonds actually served time in prison for manslaughter, killing his auntie's boyfriend. So that is pretty funny. He had just got out of prison.
He probably grabbed the butt.
Something like that. He was
with his fist.
Holy shit! No, he did this in 2001. He got out in 2011. Like this is post Wood. Yeah. Damn, he really is about that life. So yeah,
life for real. And now he has his own production company. So with that, man, thanks a lot, man. This is as we wrapped up another week of actual historical voices from the East Side. Happy Black History Month to all you folks. I hope that you thoroughly enjoyed it as we bring in our next movie for the next week. With that, man, every week, even though we go chaotic, we joke around, we laugh, and we poke fun a couple of times. We do have to wrap it down and slow it up a little bit. So we look to the voice of reason to be able to actually guide us, break us from the nigga moments, break us from the actual hardest times in our lives. So with that, man, we look to the voice of reason. JT, tell us, what's the voice of reason this week?
After watching this documentary about Nina Simone is my favorite female singer. Absolutely adore her voice and the way that she sings. And it weighed so heavy on me watching how she was treated. But one of the things I could say about Nina Simone is she was always herself. There is a saying that the ancient Greeks etched into the Temple of Apollo, and it was called "Know thyself." That was the saying. And one of the things they said in the documentary was Nina Simone 24/7. She was a revolutionary 24/7. She didn't just go out there and act. She was really about that smoke. And if she had her way, she would have shot up a whole bunch of people who was bringing violence to Black folks. Obviously, it didn't go like that. And that, is one of the reasons why her reach was limited. The voice of reason this week is there is a cost to be yourself. And in my opinion, friends, you should pay it. If you know who you are, stand up and be proud of it. And pay the cost to be yourself. Me, myself, personally, I will shut that shit down like my name was Negan. And I know this about myself. I know I could be a spoil sport sometime because I'm a motherfucking regulator. And I don't mind telling people, hey, we skipping on to the next thing because sometimes I got to regulate these fools. That I know me. And I also know that if I speak up at the wrong time, I could shut the right thing down. And I don't want to do that. So I know me, and I know that I have to pick my moments to speak. And there's a cost to being myself. So sometimes I just got to sit here and chuckle. And what you worried? Oh, no. That's not a thought for right now. Just don't worry. Don't even worry about that. We'll just keep moving. Act like it didn't happen. And I'm willing to pay the cost to be myself. That's one of the reasons why I grew my hair out and grew my beard out. Y'all, I used to shave this stuff down. I used to buzz my face and shave with a razor and stuff. And it made my skin so much worse. My skin is so much healthier now that I've gone natural because I have believed in myself. I am still Jonathan wherever I go, regardless of if I got a buzz cut and get less stupid questions or if I grow my hair out and have to hear more. And so, friends, be yourself. Be proud of yourself and pay the cost to be yourself because it's worth it. And so are you. Y'all got some music to say this out with. You know what? If Karl Malone is a dirtbag, then he should go on to be a dirtbag. We should all know about it and treat him accordingly. But
Karl Malone got a 13-year-old pregnant. Let's always keep that out there.
That's awkward. That's awkward. But listen, don't be taking my advice talking about, I'm an asshole. Jonathan told me to go be myself.
No. We not ending Black History Month like this. Y'all stay dope, stay amazing. Y'all keep making history.
Fuck Karl Malone.